Welcome, my weary traveler. Welcome to the little podcast of horrors. So the last time you were here, I wasn't quite myself. Had a slight case of possession. It's terrible this time of year. Sorry, just a little humor. No, Lilith had decided to take up residence in my body. Can't completely blame her, considering I torched hers. But to be fair, it was porcelain and fabric, so it lit up like a Christmas tree. As it turns out, that was exactly what she wanted. I foolishly freed the little devil. Pun intended. Luckily, I know a guy. After a bit of deep chanting and a blood sacrifice, we were able to pull that bitch out of me and into a new corporeal prison. Luckily, there was no strict parameters on what the new body needed, other than the basics. So, I found the cheapest, ugliest looking thing I could find on eBay. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be a dog or a wolf, but it's wearing overalls and smells like a grandmother's house from the 1980s. Yes, you know exactly what I'm talking about. We then placed the doll into a box, put some sacred seals on it, then chains, and finally left it in the darkest corner of the dungeon. Hopefully, that'll be enough. But you never know. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. I should let you get on in there. I'm sure they're waiting. Enjoy!
Oh my goodness. Welcome, my friends and ghoulish fiends, to another episode of Little Podcast of Horrors.
I'm James.
And that's Christina. What? That sounded like one of those drive-through speakers, you know? It's just like...
But
That's
like
and that's
underwater.
Yeah, that's our special guest, Jabba the Hutt. I mean, I don't know.
I was trying to do your Big Papa Chris.
That was not it at all. That was... I'm not going to finish that. You gotta be like it. I'm Big Papa Chris. You know?
Yeah, I'm Big Papa Chris.
Okay, that's better. That's better than
At
just
least
like...
we can hear you.
Yeah, we can at least understand you, so thank God for that.
I was just trying to make out with the mic and assume that that's how you do it.
You and that mic, man. So James got a new mic, and I'm starting to think that I need to go have a talk with his wife. Be like, something's going on with his microphone and him. Like, I don't know. Taking it too far, buddy. Taking it too far. Well, how's everybody doing today?
Peachy.
Peachy? What about?
Good. I'm eating candy, so I'm happy.
That's always a delight. I just finished scarfing down a big old ham sandwich, keeping to my common theme of eating while we're recording. So,
They're not supposed to know that.
why not? You know, they're here. They're our friends. We don't keep secrets. We tell them everything.
Like we've ever tried to appear like we're professionals.
Yeah, I know, right?
Come on, James. Everybody knows it's just the duct tape holding everything together.
It pretty much is. Duct tape. It's just cheap Scotch tape.
Scotch tape.
I know. Like, you ever hate that when you need duct tape and all you have is Scotch tape and you're like,
Yes.
well, let's give it a try anyway. And then it's like this.
It's horrible.
It's like you just didn't do anything.
I was thinking more like Care Bear Band-Aids.
Those are actually pretty strong, man.
So cute.
Yeah, and they're cute. Those things will stick on, because I remember even as a kid, you rip those things off. Whoo! That hurts. Well, I have this story today, and it is the epic conclusion to the Priory of Salon. I know some of them are like, the hell, man, is he ever going to come back to that story? Because he just left us hanging. Well, yes. But I don't know if it's going to be what you hoped it would be.
That's how we like to start out an episode.
Yeah, man.
Don't get your hopes up, people.
Well, so last time we discussed Father Saunier, who supposedly found these parchments when he was renovating the local church. The story goes that the parchments contained a hidden message, which he took to an expert in Paris to decipher. And upon learning the message, Saunier went and bought a painting at the Louvre, which I was just on like, you can do that back then? Like, I was just like, wow. And of course, the painting itself was Nicolas Poussin's Et in Arcadia Ego, which was painted in 1637, and it depicts a pastoral scene with idolized shepherds from classical antiquity and a woman, possibly a shepherdess, gathered around a tomb that includes the Latin inscription Et in Cardio Ego, which translates to even Arcadia, there I am. And of course, afterwards, Saunier suddenly had this large amount of wealth and no one knew where it came from. He built a tower, he renovated the church, and he lived in, I would say, comfortable wealth until he died in 1917. Um, in the church, it's believed that Saunier had left clues that we discussed in the last episode that hinted at the location of possibly a hidden treasure. And the painting seemed to depict not a fictional place, which had been previously believed what it was, but in fact a real live location near Saunier's church where a tomb sat just as it is in the said painting.
Why don't more people do that?
What, like
I
create?
mean, funerals would be so much more fun if there was a scavenger hunt involved.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Way to go, kids. All right, now that I'm dead, now it's time for you to find your inheritance.
So
I've
maybe I could
left.
work that into my will. It's like I want some grandiose multi-decade effort to decipher my secret message to my supposed treasure.
Yeah. And then at the very end, when they've spent all this time, they just find a note that says, I never cared for you ungrateful sons of bitches. There's nothing here.
No. The no no no. It's going to be a box, and when you open it, it's a mirror because your friends are there with you, and the treasure is the friends you made along the way.
That's true. That's true.
Oh, the cursing.
The cursing. So what does this all have to do with the Priory of Zion? What is
Absolutely nothing.
Well, glad you asked that. Or what is the Priory of Zion? So to answer some of these questions and its connections to Saunier, let me introduce you to Henry Lincoln, a former Doctor Who writer for the BBC. I told you last time that our next part would be including a Doctor Who writer, and thus here we are. Henry Lincoln was first drawn to all of this by a book written in 1967 by Gerard de Suet. I think I said that right. He was a French journalist and novelist. The book was titled The Accursed Treasure. The book is where all the previous information that we've talked about first appeared in printed form. So the story of Saunier, the painting, Poussin, all of that, that's where this first pops up in a printed format, as in like a book wise, is this book. So Lincoln says that his interest was first aroused when he came across this book. I thought I got the makings of a film here. Don't forget that was my career. I was a writer for television, and I thought, this is a damn good subject for a documentary, says Lincoln. And Henry ended up making 3 documentaries for the BBC where he detailed all of this, and that no treasure was found during the making of these documentaries. However, it was in these documentaries that Henry suggested that Saunier came to his wealth from the Priory of Sion. And I watched all 3 documentaries. If you're curious, they are on YouTube. I watched all 3 of them. They're like creepy organ music and all of that. He claimed through his research that the Priory of Sion came up many times, including Sion appearing in that one document. You know, you remember when we were talking about it, the documents they found, it said Sion. When you took away all the text, there's Sion. You also had the PS, what that we talked about last time. He concluding that that stood for Priory of Sion. Henry was eventually joined in his research by 2 writers named Michael Beignet and Richard Lee, and the 3 of them co-authored a book about it called the Holy Blood and the Holy Blood and the Holy Grail. Now, during their research, they stated that they found proof of the Priory of Sion. And to answer what is the Priory of Sion, well, that it's a real organization whose purpose was to guard the ultimate secret, that Jesus and Mary Magdalene married in secret and conceived a child. That after and then afterwards they escaped to France with the Holy Grail, which was not a cup, but was in fact the child of their child. The theory
Man, you had my hopes up with Ultimate Secret, and instead
know.
you just kind of dumped some gossip, celebrity gossip.
Oh, buddy, if that's gonna bother you.
I was wanting some secrets to the universe.
I know, right? Well, I mean, the whole point. Well, hang on, well, no, I don't know. The theory goes that Sigbert, remember we talked about Sigbert, who was the child of the Merovingian kings, the one that was whisked away of Dagobert II, and that the basically the theory is that Sigbert was in fact part of this holy line, that all the Merovingian kings were. They were basically Jesus and Mary's line. And the proof to all this is at the Bibliothèque Nationale in Paris, which is the French National Library. And it was deposited by a man named Pierre Plantard, I guess, in the 1960s. And Plantard claimed to be not only the head of the Priory of Sion, but in fact the descendant of his holy line, that he was part of this, so that he's the vessel to Christ's holy blood.
You know, Jesus Jr. would have been an awesome 90s cartoon.
Jesus, not in the 90s. They would have
No, the 90s, because you remember, like, the 90s was like all the baby versions or the kids of, like, remember James Bond Jr.? That was a cartoon.
But you're forgetting that it was also the 90s where they were thinking everything's the devil. And if you come to say that Jesus has a child, you're going to have them all picketing Fox Cartoon Network. And because I'm sure that's who would have picked it up.
They did that anyway.
I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, they even like picketed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, so
Like,
might as well throw Jesus Jr. in there.
Jesus Jr.
And he goes on spy adventure. It's basically James Bond Jr. They just swap out the character.
He could turn water to wine, but he can't drink it because he's not of age.
And he goes on spy missions.
I like that. Let's do that. Where was I? Oh, yeah. Blah. Records show that Plantard founded the organization, the Priory of Sion, in 1956 in France. However, the proof that we've been talking about, the proof, quotes, states that the Priory of Sion was actually founded in Jerusalem at the time of the Crusades. And in this, some of the documents are known as the dossier secrets or secret, because that's like, I guess, sexier than saying like Plantard's notes on Jesus babies. I don't know. So now let's talk about the documents that are kind of at the whole heart of this. And mind you, not only is it in these books, it's even stated at the beginning of Dan Brown's book.
The Da Vinci Code?
The Da Vinci Code. It's blank on the name. Oh, my brain hurts. The Da Vinci Code, that talk in the beginning of the book, it talks about that this is where it is. It's the evidence is in the Bibliotheca, and So if you ever watched that movie or read that book and you're like, what are they talking about? Well, that's what they're talking about is this, the secret files. I don't know why. They always just add on secret files, but it's not really secret if it's in the Bibliotheca. Like, it's just right there. Like, secret files would be like following a map down like a dark maze and opening like several doors, and then maybe you find it, and then be like, you have found the secret file.
It's the public library.
But yeah, it's in the end, it's just like, I just went to the library and looked it up. It's not really secret.
Like all the secret entrances just lead to a side door to the public library.
It's just, yeah, there you go. Here are the secret files located in this cabinet around that corner. They might as well be secret. Nobody comes down there anymore. Look at all the cobwebs.
Hope you've got your library card.
You better. And you better have paid your overdue fees. So the document itself, well, it's 27 pages long. An introduction to the document by Edmond Albet, containing a dedication signed by Philippe Toscan du Plantier, addressed to Monseigneur the Commandant Rede Duc de Razes.
Nailed it.
That's it. The legitimate descendant of Clovis the First, King of France. Cernay Ardent, shoot of the king, and Saint Dagobert II. I don't know. Whatever.
Wait,
Well,
shoot of the king?
yeah, it says shoot of the king and
Like a
Saint.
plant has a shoot?
I guess. I don't know. I'm just reading what it says. Albert makes mention of Henry Boudoir, who supposedly communicated a secret to Leopold Venier, superior of the Brotherhood of Notre Dame de Marcel, by Le Mont à Deux.
That's a lot of dudes.
Oh no.
What were we talking about?
Yeah, also claims that Emile Hoffet's library ended up in the possession of the International League of Antiquarian Booksellers before becoming part of the secret archives of the Knights of Malta. A lot of titles. I don't know. Whatever. That's one thing. That's the introduction. It also includes maps of France and Merovingian genealogy. Remember, because they believe that the Merovingian kings are all the lines of Mary and Jesus. Newspaper clippings related to the freedom of Aquitania. I don't know what that is. Superior letter, Spurious, Spurious. Spurious letter? I don't know.
Why not?
Letter attributed to Noel Corbu, containing part of the envelope postmarked Causet 1962 and relating to Emile Hoffet. Bunch of people I don't know that aren't a part of this. Basically includes some letters. It includes a list of Grand Masters of the Priory of Sion, which include Leonardo da Vinci and Sir Isaac Newton, guys like that. A page that is a plagiarism of various paragraphs from a book called The Age of Aquarius and an obituary of the priest M. l'Abbé Giraud de Cagnes. Just to. So now we need to come to the big question. Is all this real?
I mean, that's a lot of bureaucracy for
yeah.
something that's not real.
The thing is we've been going down these rabbit holes of like scraped clean tombstones and a poor priest suddenly coming into wealth and this painting that seems to show, not only a real landscape, but a real tomb. What about that tomb that we talked about? What's in the tomb? Like, what does this all have to do with the Priory of Sion? And is it real? Is any of it actually going to turn out to be real? Well, no.
And that's the end of the episode, folks.
Wah, 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 wah.
Did the Merovingian kings make it up?
That would have been a cooler. No. So
the bullshit that is the Priory of Sion.
Goddamn bullshit. Okay. You lead us down this entire cool, twisty rabbit hole, and you're telling me that it's all bullshit? Come on. Well, according to Jonathan Riley Smith, a former professor of ecclesiastical history at Cambridge University and a leading authority on the Crusades, upon finding these documents that really are that's true, they really are at the Bibliotheca Nationale in Paris, he stated, "I do know what was going on in Jerusalem in the 12th century. I do know. I spent 40 years working on it, and what these people say, it did not happen. There were things in documents that just didn't add up. It was a forgery. It was an obvious forgery to anybody with any type of academic ability, I guess you could say.
It could have been like an ancient version of an ARG.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know.
They were just role playing the whole time.
Yeah, they're just an RPG. They're just pretending to be. Well, you may not be too far off. I don't know. Because as it turns out, these documents were actually written by Pierre Plantard, and we mentioned earlier, who is the head of it all, and apparently,
the DM.
The DM, yeah, basically. And it's also apparently written by Philippe de Chercey under the pseudonym of Philippe Dusson du Plantier. One of the names I mentioned is in there in the documents. Historian Claude Charlot, who is the director of the Paris Police Archives, says there's actually a file on Plantard. Pierre Plantard, who had been the leader of a minor occult political organization known as the Alpha Galetes, told the story about René Le Chateau, the church, firstly to selected friends from the late 1950s, and then to the esoteric author Gerard de Siede, whom, guys, remember? Wrote the guy who wrote the book, The Accursed Treasure, that inspired Henry Lincoln?
Oh.
Yeah. Also, it's important to note that Gerard's son would go on to describe him as a man with an eye for mischief who, when working for the French National Press Agency, made up a story about an eagle abducting a child.
Nice.
Yeah. Charlot stated he is a young man. This is Plantard now. He is a young man whose mind, as we say in French, is cloudy. He is a fantasicist. See, I don't want to say fanaticist, but it's like fantasy, fantasicist. He's into fantasy. He's not a serious person. After the war, Plantard moved to the small French town of Annemasse. In 1953, he was given a 6-month sentence for fraud, but 3 years later, he was again setting up a new organization. Under French law, it's necessary to deposit the statutes of every new association with the authorities. So that's how they knew. That's how the government official, they had that information. And it was called the Priory of Sion, named not for the 12th century Jerusalem, but for the local mountain close to where he lived.
You got to respect the hustle.
I guess. 10 years later, and now back in Paris, Plantard gave the Priory of Sion a fictitious pedigree by drawing up the list of the Grand Masters and depositing it in the Bibliothèque Nationale. Charlot says that apart from that list, no historians have found any evidence that the Priory of Sion existed before Plantard set up his version in 1956.
You know what?
What?
We should start a secret society.
I know, right? I mean, let's just do it. What? I don't know.
We talk about him enough.
I know.
Might as well.
So, in other words, all that Plantard tells us, or what other people tell us about the Prior of Sion, that the Grand Master was Victor Hugo or Leonardo da Vinci, it's just sheer invention, says Charlot. So, to give you a little more of a backstory here, between 1961 and 1984, Plantard contrived a mythical pedigree for the Priory of Sion, claiming that it was an offshoot of a real Catholic religious order housed in the Abbey of Our Lady of Mount Zion, which was founded in the Kingdom of Jerusalem during the First Crusade in 1099, and later absorbed by the Jesuits in 1617. The mistake, of course, is that this Abbey of Sion was a Priory of Sion. There's Abbey and Priory are not the same things. And calling his original 1956 group Priory of Sion presumably gave Plantard the later idea to claim that his organization had been historically founded by crusading knight Godfrey of Bouillon on Mount Zion near Jerusalem during the Middle Ages. So this is kind of why they were trying to say, well, it was founded in Jerusalem, by the knights and the Templar and all that. No, it wasn't.
Man, this is a bummer.
I know. You're all like, I can't wait to see how this concludes. And I'm
I
like,
know.
do I tell her? Furthermore,
So really though, the Priory of Sion really was the friends we made along the way.
It kind of was, wasn't it? Speaking of friends, how about that Merovingian king Dagobert II? Where did that even come from?
I would presume he came from Dagobert I.
Well, I'm glad you asked that. Plantard was inspired by a 1960 magazine, Le Cassier de l'Histoire, to center his personal genealogical claims, as found in the Priory of Sion documents, on Dagobert. So, let's see. And then of course the painting. What about the painting?
What about it?
Well, he also adopted et in Arcadio ego, a slightly altered version of a Latin phrase that most famously appeared in those two paintings from Nicholas Poussin as the motto of both of his family and the Priory of Sion, because the tomb which appears in these paintings resembled the one that's near René Le Chateau. The tomb who, was like a symbol for, this whole, all these claims and the Merovingians and blah, 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 and the Lost King. It got torn down in 1980 and it was completely empty. There was nothing in it. The man that owned the land that the tomb was on had enough because he started having to deal with people showing up looking for treasure or looking for Jesus babies or I don't know what. He had enough and it was destroyed.
He
And
tore down the tomb?
he tore down the tomb, which apparently was
Whoa.
utterly empty. There was nothing in it, not even bones, nothing. So, I don't know. But I mean, there's not really much to say about how it all really resembled that background, like the same mountain, the same skull, the skull hill as James saw it. Like,
Yeah. It
that's
was
the one
pretty
thing,
good.
that's one area that I would say that was not conclusively done away with for me. Like, I'm not saying it has anything to do with Jesus and Mary having babies, but it definitely looks like it's that area and it was that tomb or whatever it was supposed to be. But alas, it's gone now. And of course, Plantard died in 2000, so I mean that kind of ends the story there for him. But of course, but what about Sonia and his wealth? Where did
Yeah.
that come from?
Where did
Well,
it
as
come
it
from?
well as it turns out, it wasn't a hidden treasure or him in league with the Priory of Sion. Nope, it was good old-fashioned fraud,
Nice.
or to be specific, trafficking in masses.
Oh.
And let's see here. I looked it up. So Sonia's, and this is according to the Wikipedia page, Sonia's renovations of his church, and the programs and the village and all that didn't go unnoticed. And of course, it even attracted like some hostile reactions. And people were complaining, and to the bishop of Carcassonne. I don't know how to say that right. I'm not. Um, and Sonia was even warned about selling of masses. And so, I mean, what is trafficking in masses or selling of masses? Basically, accepting more mass intentions than can be fulfilled within a reasonable time frame. So
Uh,
canon law stipulates that priests should generally accept an offering per mass. So during mass,
okay.
you put up offerings. But in this case, he was taking more offerings than he was giving masses for. So basically, um, the offering is always supposed to be voluntary, of act of faith, and not forced payment. But in this sense, what does it say here? I thought
So
I
we
had.
had a mass of mass donations.
Yeah, basically, it refers to a specific type of financial misconduct related to mass offerings, not human trafficking. Don't confuse it with that. But more or less, I think it has to do with the fact that you're taking more offerings than you are giving, because you're only supposed to take one mat or one type of one full offering per mass. But apparently, he was taking more offerings than masses that he was giving. Um, he was actually sent two written warnings in May of 1901. These written warnings were repeated again in 1903 and 1904. And of course, eventually, two hearings were held. The first hearing, he didn't even show up for, and it was rescheduled. Wherein he was sentenced, he finally did show up. And by the time he did actually appear and attended the rescheduled hearing that was on November the 5th, 1910, he was sentenced to withdraw to a house of priestly retreat, there to undertake spiritual exercises for a period of 10 days for trafficking in masses and for accepting more money than he was able to say masses for. He served his penance in the monastery of Prulay. In December of 1910, Saunier appealed to the Sacred Congregation of the Council in Rome for his reinstatement as parish priest of René Le Chateau, with the Sacred Congregation passing this information on to the bishop. The bishop issued a strong warning against Saunier in 1911, forbidding him to administer the sacraments, published.
La Semaine religieuse de Carcassonne.
See, that's perfect. That's exactly what it says. dated February 3rd, 1911. The bishop was not satisfied by the formal command and asked Saunier to produce his account books by March the 2nd. And a commission of inquiry was established to further scrutinize Saunier's financial activities. In March 13th, 1911, Saunier submitted 61 invoices relating to the renovations of the church and the building of the estate that came to a total of 36,250 francs. He also submitted a letter of explanation to the bishop outlining the source of his finances with a list of donors, giving details of his entire income since becoming priest of René Le Chateau, producing an exaggerated amount totaling 193,150 francs. So it wasn't a treasure.
What's that in American?
It's a lot. It's way more than he should have had. So
yeah, that's crazy.
Basically, in the end, it wasn't a great treasure. It wasn't the Priory of Salon. It was just him taking donations for masses that he wasn't even giving.
And just getting warnings after warnings, followed by some more warnings.
Pretty much. Of course, Saunier provided a statement of expenditure on the renovations of his church and building of his estate, producing an exaggerated amount totaling 193,000 francs, claiming the Villa de Thanier cost 90,000 francs and the Tour Magnola cost 40,000 francs. Though these are parts of the tower and the church they made. On October the 4th of that year, the Commission of Inquiry submitted its report. Only about 36,000 francs couldn't be accounted for. Only about 36,000 francs could be accounted for out of the 193,000 francs that Saunier claimed to have spent. Whoa. And commented that Saunier refused to cooperate with the inquiry. Another hearing had to be arranged where Saunier had to produce his account books for inspection for the bishop. And guess what for the third hearing? Saunier did not attend. He didn't show up.
They were like, don't make us warn you again, sir.
I know, right? So he was sentenced in his absence to, oh no, a 3-month suspension. Although Saunier's suspension was only temporary for 3 months, the priest's reinstatement depended on the ecclesiastical judgment that he had to undertake the restitution into the hands of the rightful owner and according to canon law of the goods misappropriated by him, which the priest was unable to do. Following this trial, Saunier lived the rest of his life in poverty, selling religious medals and rosaries to wounded soldiers who were stationed nearby. And whatever money Saunier was able to raise from selling masses was used on his appeal to Rome that his lawyer was working on. So Saunier planned to build a summer house but abandoned the project. This is all according to Wikipedia. Saunier died on January 22nd, 1917. His suspension lifted at the moment of death. I guess that's what they do. So they were able to perform last rites. His death certificate dated January 23rd was signed by Victor Riviere, the mayor of Renoir des Chateaux. And Saunier was buried on the 24th of January.
So it means if he comes back as a zombie, he could totally go right back to priest work. Because
He could. Zombie priest. But that's it. That's the not really epic conclusion. And it should be noted that Henry Lincoln is still, from what I understand, still today gives tours of the church up there. He still fully believes the story. He thinks that it's all still real. But it should be important to note that he was not part of any of the supposed cover up, or not cover up. He wasn't a part of Plantard. He didn't know Plantard. He didn't take part in that. He actually does believe in all of this. So, to his defense, he's from what I understand, he's not purposely trying to mislead anybody. He truly believes this. But that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't think of it one way or another. It wouldn't bother me if it came out that Jesus and Mary did have a child. I'm like, I'm not really that hardcore Christian anymore, where like that would shake my belief in anything, but I don't know.
Why did he need to be a virgin?
Oh man, we need to spin off a theology podcast to talk about that one.
Yeah,
Like, what is that obsession with virginity?
I guess because you're pure. I don't know, like it's considered pure. Like, your body is the temple, and so somebody jizzing in it makes it really gross. I don't know.
Oh. So I mean, as the resident hardcore Christian, uh, that's not really what brings the whole house of cards down for me. If it turned out like,
Yeah.
if the found was like, oh, here's verifiable proof somehow that Jesus had a kid by Mary, is like, oh, okay, that's weird. Didn't see that coming, but
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, though, is it really that weird in the grand scheme of things? I mean, he came to be fully human.
We have to spin off a
Yeah.
theology podcast.
I'm just saying, well, no, we're here to talk about all kinds of things. I mean,
That's such a loaded discussion.
I guess. But I mean, even just to like come to Earth to be fully human, I would say to also fall in love. Why not get married? Why not have a child? Why not have a family? That's very human for a lot of people. Not everybody. If you don't want have kids or you don't want to get married, that's also very human. It's just
Weird science.
weird science.
No, that's why it's potentially unsettling for me. It's because of weird science. Because what happened in weird science, they created a girl to be their girlfriend, which is
Lisa.
kind of
Yeah.
creepy.
Yeah.
So on that level, it's kind of creepy if you think about it that way, because it's weird science
Wait,
starring Jesus instead of those other guys.
so like I'm not following you. Like Jesus made like Lisa, like he can have sex with somebody. He's a human being. He was born.
Well, again,
Or are you
like
saying that is Jesus Lisa? Where it's like
No.
Jesus is the person
What
that
is
was created?
happening?
I don't know.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. That was the point.
That doesn't matter. Forget we even said anything, people. I don't know. In the end, it's just like it's a whole breadcrumbs and rabbit holes and fake clues that led to fuck all you people. I never cared for any of you. Here's a mirror. Here's the friends that you made along the way. That's all you're fucking getting from this.
I gotta respect it.
That really is fucked up.
Jesus babies.
Jesus face.
Jesus Junior. He can make water to wine, but he's not legally old enough to drink it. Yeah.
Well, if you like this episode,
Poor Christina. Like I ruined her because she was all like, I'm like, it's all lies.
He baited me. He baited
I'm
me.
really
I tried to dodge it.
upset.
And he baited me anyway.
yeah, I'm really upset, but whatever.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. Just because this turned out to not be all true doesn't mean there's not some truth to it. That tomb was something. The background in Poussin's painting, that really clearly looks like that area. The lady's tombstone of Blanchefort, I didn't find anything that explained that away. I didn't find
Yeah.
anything that explained a lot of those clues away. And
No, I'm
then
kind of here for it being all BS in the end because you gotta respect that level of hustle.
I
That's
guess.
so much like intricate lore building and work to pull this off. Like,
And-
that's
Yeah, and remember too, Henry Lincoln still believes it's all true. He still holds firmly to the fact that no, he thinks it's true, that he's a careful researcher, and that he believes ultimately is true. So you never know. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's the shadowy government that's hiding it.
It's
Maybe.
always the conspiracy.
it's probably that.
Because I mean, here, ask yourself this: if all of this ended up being true, do you think they're going to come out and be like, "Oh, you got us. Yep, that's it. It's all true." Prior of signs. No, they're going to do this. They're going to create they're going to bring in experts. They're going to explain it all away and tie it up with a nice bow and just basically say such and such is a crazy asshole.
Also, the debunking of the conspiracy is itself the conspiracy.
It might be. Because
That
ultimately,
makes
this
sense.
all goes back to the Vatican archives and the belief that the truth is there in the Vatican archives about the Priory of Sion. So, what is it? Personally, I think it's possible that Jesus and Mary had a child. That doesn't mean that the child has if the child's line is existing today, that they have some mystical godly powers or something, because correct me if I'm wrong, James, but I kind of felt like the whole message of Jesus was about to be about like, I'm exactly what you can be if you just have faith. Like he's like, yeah, I'm the son of man. I am who I am, but not Popeye. But I am what I am. That's all that I am. I'm the son of God. No, but it like, the whole point was is that Jesus was trying to tell everybody that what my faith and my power is exactly what your faith and your power could be. You just have to believe it. That he wasn't coming so much to be like, what I am is beyond you or whatever, but like part of it was like, everything I'm doing you could do too. You just have to have faith. You have to believe in yourself. You have to
Well,
believe in,
also love people and don't be a dick.
yeah,
Is
and
kind of
don't,
A
the
big
bigger
one.
thrust of the mission there.
yeah.
Which again is why it's like, if I found out that somehow there was child, it's not like I'm going to go, well, guess I don't have to love everybody now.
Yeah, right. Feed the hungry, heal the sick. So much for that shit.
I had time to start my supervillain arc.
Yep. Dude had a baby. All things are out the window. So, yeah. So I don't know. I'm still open to the idea of the possibility. Even if all this whole story about some priest in France and all of that's bullshit. That doesn't mean it's all bullshit. That doesn't mean that there isn't some truth to it that they're hiding. Are they? Are they hiding it? If you know, please feel free to email us at info@littlepodcastofhorrors.com. And if you liked this episode, please like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends about this. If you have a story that you want to share, send it our way in that email address that I just stated.
I want to believe if there is a divine baby, it's just some guy named Chad.
Could be.
And he's just somewhere sitting on a sofa, playing some PlayStation, eating some Cheetos.
He's got a big bottle of water that he wishes was Mountain Dew, and then suddenly it turns into Mountain Dew.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus, babies.